A lot of things have happened in the last half hour. First and foremost at the top of the list is that 25 years removed from their last trip to the Eastern Conference Finals, the New York Knicks now have a 3-1 lead in the Eastern Conference semifinals. Welcome back to the Amica Insurance broadcast booth, Grande and Max. But as I said, in real time, in a New York minute, everything changes. The Jayson Tatum injury, which was a non-contact injury we've seen before. We've seen knees, we've seen ankles, we've seen Achilles in those situations. It looked awfully bad. We know nothing, so why pretend that we know anything when we don't? What we know is that the Celtics are now down 3-1. Everything has changed. You got the feeling New York was going to have a big offensive game. They were due. The Celtics had smothered them for 3 games. If and when this series goes to New York and they advance to the conference finals, they will have won this series in games 1 and 2, not in the later games in this series. Crazy as it is, the Celtics have still outscored New York at this point, which shows you how meaningless a lot of that stuff is. But the fourth quarter comebacks for the Knicks, obviously putting them in position for if something bad happened. The Celtics left themselves no margin for error, and a bad defensive second half and an injury to Jayson Tatum. That's about the 2 biggest errors you can have if you're the Celtics, and now the Celtics championship is hanging by a thread.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. When you think about Jayson Tatum, where he's at, what happened. My buddy Bob McAdoo just said, he's looking on TV. He said, popped Achilles. That's what he said. We're not doctors. We're not pretending to be
something. We're not speculating.
I'm just telling you what he said. Now, what we do know, there wasn't a lot of contact. Nobody rolled his ankle. It was he planted his foot. And when he planted his foot, it was kind of odd. And then it was kind of he just went down in a heap. And it was a bad pass then from Brown, thrown over to him, and he was trying to make a play on the basketball, and, man, that's just the worst thing can happen. As a basketball player, this is what I always believe, any kind of athlete, you walk onto the field, and you hope to walk off. When you walk onto the field or basketball court, and they carry you off, that is absolutely the worst thing can happen to you.
And it comes at the end of one of, if not the best game when you consider the stakes and the circumstances that Jayson Tatum had ever had. He was brilliant from start to finish, helping the Celtics build the big lead. And it's interesting because in the big picture now, everyone will write the Celtics off, especially if Tatum is out, that they can never come back from 3-1. And even if they did, they wouldn't be able to do anything without Tatum going forward. So let's, instead of the macro, because everybody will now hand the series to New York, let's talk about what comes up next year. This was a night that until the Jayson Tatum injury, the story to me was Jayson Tatum's brilliant night was about to be wasted because he got no help. Now, if you don't have Jayson Tatum for Game 5 in Boston, to me it is completely on Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Drew Holiday to get this series back here. If nothing else, you cannot lose at home, and you have to make up for this performance tonight and for all of the scrutiny it's been on Jayson Tatum. Jaylen Brown, for better or worse, has lived this life where you could say, well, he doesn't get the attention he deserves because he's that quote-unquote number 2 guy. What comes with that, he doesn't get the same scrutiny or criticism that a Jayson Tatum gets. Well, now the focus is going to be completely on Jaylen Brown to keep the Celtics alive and get this series back here on Friday.
No, that's how it works out. When you lose a player like that, or we don't know Tatum again, where he's at, but let's just assume that he's not going to play, then now all the pressure and all the gamesmanship goes to the other guys. The others are able to step up and play. And I've been in those situations before, and I'm sure that, everybody right now is looking at it and saying all hell is, it's done. A friend of mine just texted me 1-2-3 Cancun, but you're still playing. You still have another swing at it, which a lot of teams don't.
Friday night at Madison Square Garden will be the most spectacular scene you could possibly imagine. Now it is the Celtics' job to get it here. Wednesday night, 6:30 start on the network. Then at 7 o'clock, Game 5 of the Eastern Conference semifinals. Now New York on the brink of their first trip to the NBA's Final Four in 25 years. The Celtics have been there 10 times since, while Knicks fans have watched with their noses pressed against the glass for a quarter century. Now is their time, a chance to take it and to do it in Boston. We will talk to you then from TD Garden